So I said, Erica, I said, will you do me a favor? She said, what, bub? I said, will you make sure you go to the hospital for me? She said, yes, I will.
But you're not smart enough to know when you're lying. Sitting up trying to pin a baby on a man. Hold on, I'm talking now. Since all you can do is shrug your shoulders, stay silent.
You generally shouldn't come to paternity court with decades of unresolved secrets, but here we are, Mr. Don White versus Ms. Julia Mock, with their daughter Tasha caught in the middle. Mr. White says his rights were yanked while he was in prison, and another man adopted Tasha. Ms. Mock fires back. He's not the dad. Judge Lauren Lake sets the stakes: truth, trauma, and a DNA test. Buckle up.
Mr. White, you've brought your ex-wife to court today because you believe she mysteriously had your parental rights revoked for a girl you believe was your biological daughter, thus allowing another man to adopt her.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you've petitioned the court for a DNA test and say once the result prove that you are indeed Miss Tasha Mock's biological father.
Right away, Mr. White lays out the timeline like he's got receipts. Married in the early 80s, a son. Then Tasha conceived right before he went to jail. His name's on Tasha's birth certificate, so at that time, Julia must have believed he was the father. I mean, just look at his face. This is a man clinging to paper proof and principle. Drama overload.
You don't owe him a single dollar, and it's your hope that when today's test results are revealed, Mr. White will leave you and your daughter alone for good.
Yes.
So, Mr. White, obviously you feel you've been lied to. Please explain to the court why.
Your Honor, in the early 1980s, Julia and I were married. She birthed me a son 10 months afterwards. A year later, she was pregnant with Tasha, and I ended up going to jail.
In prison, he taught himself law. Yes, really. And won when Julia tried to terminate his rights. The court even ordered prison visits and to accept his collect calls if he covered half with prison wages. Judge Lake gives him props. That was good lawyering. You could cut the tension with a knife as he beams with pride.
About a year after that, she petitioned the court to involuntarily terminate my parental rights to both my son and to Tasha. I acted as my own attorney because I had nothing but time, so I went to the law library and I taught myself law, and acting as my own attorney, I fought it in court and I won. And at that time, it was the opinion of the judge at that time that Julia, or Miss Mock.
Then the bomb drops. Julia says she told him Tasha would be adopted because he wasn't the father. She admits she slept with one other man during the marriage. Things got rocky quickly. Judge Lake zeroes in. If you believed he wasn't the father, why is his name on the birth certificate? Talk about messy.
That's the first time there was ever any question in my mind, really, that she was my daughter or not.
Ms. Mock.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are submitting to this court that Mr. White is not, in fact, her biological father?
I don't believe so.
Please explain why, specifically.
He was always leaving me, going out with other women. Why should I have to deal with that?
So are you saying because he would leave you and go out with other women, you would sleep with other men?
Julia admits it. She was married to White, but sleeping with another man. Meanwhile, Tasha says she grew up believing her adoptive dad was her father, until she overheard Grandma mention another gentleman. The look on Tasha's face, heartbreaking stuff. Can anyone else feel the confusion and hurt piling up here?
So therefore, it's your belief that you were sleeping with this man that truly is Miss Mock's biological father. But because you were married to Mr. White, you put his name on the birth certificate.
Yes, because the other gentleman walked out of my life too.
Miss Mock, who did you actually think was your father growing up?
I believed my adopted father was my father.
At 16, Tasha finds a birth certificate with White's last name. When she asks her mother, Julia shrugs it off. You're a Mock now. Then Julia recalls stopping prison visits and moving ahead with adoption. The room gets quiet. This is the kind of family secret that echoes for decades.
When I was 16, I had found a birth certificate. My mother and I were going through a trunk, and we found my birth certificate, and on it had Mr. White's last name.
Did you question your mother?
Oh, absolutely. And she stated just that I was a Mock now.
So she basically didn't deny the fact?
Mr. White goes all in. He calls the adoption illegal, says he lost 30 years with his child, and that she lost a right to know her biological father. Judge Lake presses Julia's motive. Was it to protect the kids from prison visits, or because she truly believed White wasn't the father? Julia admits both played a part.
Illegally allowed Tasha Tasha to be adopted. These people have accosted me 30 years of being able to experience with my daughter growing up. They've denied her the right to know her natural father. This is a God-given right to everybody.
Ms. Ma, what is the motive behind all of this?
I was trying to protect them.
Tasha shares when she finally took control. Around 29, she reached out to Mr. White on Facebook. And y'all, the way he lights up retelling it? I mean, just look at that reaction. A lifetime of questions suddenly inches toward answers. You could practically hear a door unlocking in this family.
Tasha, I have to ask you, at what point did you just decide, I want to know the truth?
Well, when I was 26, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and I put a lot of thought into it. I was blind and I couldn't walk, so I had nothing but time to sit and think about it.
Their first meeting? Emotional. Mr. White says it felt like time stopped. Tasha describes the swirl of relief and confusion. The courtroom collectively exhales. This is why we're here. Judge Lake carefully keeps them focused. We're sorting facts today so feelings can finally find footing.
How did it feel when you first saw her?
I don't know the words to express it because there was such a warmth and a flood to come over me when I got to wrap my arms around her. It was like nothing in the world mattered at that point. You know, it's 30-year battle is over. I finally won. That's how I felt.
You say these 30 years have been filled with so much pain.
Yes, I have. I lost my only son. The first time I saw her was at my son's funeral.
Julia insists she avoided contact partly out of fear and to protect Tasha. Mr. White counters that the emotional distress and alleged fraud cost him dearly. He wants $5,000. Judge Lake's eyebrows say it all. This isn't small claims court, but the pain is definitely quantifiable in tears.
To get in touch with me is because she thought I'd be mad as hell. I said, I understand you were an angry 14-year-old girl that just lost your best friend in the world.
Mr. White, can you please explain to the court and to Ms. Mock the basis of your suit?
Well, Your Honor, I believe that the emotional distress that I've been put through by the obvious deception by Mrs. Mott is well worth the $5,000 I'm asking for emotional distress.
We hear about family trips and promises, and then that gut punch question. If he's proven not to be the father, will he still be in Tasha's life? He says yes, but the uncertainty hangs there like a storm cloud. Tasha's a grown woman now, but the little girl inside is still waiting for clarity.
Hooks Forest or wherever is a camping trip. That was all me, all my blood, nothing to do with him. And I don't owe him anything. He should owe me at least an apology for leaving me. And that is my child. I don't want to share her anymore.
If Mr. White is deemed to be the biological father today,
He'll take her from me.
That's what you feel.
Yes.
Julia asserts Tasha already has a father, the man who adopted her. Tasha, fighting back tears, just wants peace and happiness given her health struggles. Judge Lake softens. The mission is bigger than points on a scoreboard. It's a family finding solid ground after decades on thin ice.
She has a father. He adopted her.
Do you understand the need, the desire,
Yes.
the longing in her to know who her biological father is?
Yes.
And as her mother, is there a part of you that wants to provide, to fulfill that need?
Yes.
That's a natural mother's instinct.
Yes, I do. I only want my daughter to be happy because of her illness.
Judge Lake urges everyone to center Tasha's well-being. Do what's necessary to make your daughter happy. Mr. White holds the line on truth. Biology matters to identity. Julia says she hears her daughter finally. You can feel the room recalibrating. Maybe, just maybe, they can move forward after today.
You want to make your daughter happy and do what's necessary to make sure she gets the information she needs to be able to live a happy life. On the other hand, if you have to help her find another gentleman that may potentially be her biological father, you're not willing to help. That doesn't make any sense.
He left us.
Okay, but she's trying to find out who her biological father is. It's as if because the men wronged you, you making her suffer for it.
Cue the drum roll. The envelope comes out. Judge Lake reads slowly. In the case of White versus Mock, the camera cuts between Mr. White's determined stare, Julia's steely calm, and Tasha's trembling hands. This is the cliff edge. Decades of pain hanging by a single sentence. My heart is doing cartwheels.
In the case of White versus Mock, pertaining to 30-year-old Ms. Tasha Mock, it has been determined by this court, Mr. White, you are not the father.
Here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for. Judge Lake announces, Mr. White, you are not the father. Tasha's face crumples. Mr. White whispers, sorry baby, I'll still be there. And Julia sits frozen, processing the fallout. A hush blankets the courtroom. Talk about a twist no one saw coming.
I'll still help you.
Are you okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. White, are you all right?
Yes, Your Honor, I will be.
I know it's not the news you wanted. You say that you will help her find her biological father if she asks for that help. And I hope you live up to that, Mr. White.
I most certainly will, Your Honor. I told this young lady when she first stepped into my life I'd help her find the truth.
Imagine showing up to paternity court with 2 possible children linked to a man who passed away, and a family desperate for answers. Judge Lake opens with the aunt acknowledging she's known of Malachi for years, while Grandma Dolores Smith reveals she only met him yesterday. You can feel the shock ripple across the room. Drama overload. Roll the first clip.
So, Miss Smith, you all of this time knew Malachi, knew who he was.
Yes.
Your nieces talk about him.
Yes.
But never knew
Never knew.
he could potentially be your nephew.
Never knew. Never.
So when did Miss Laster make you aware, and how did she go about telling you? Just saying that, you know, this could be your
My
nephew,
nephew.
it really could?
Right there, Judge Lake turns to Ms. Laster. You have 2 other children the family loves. What's a third? Laster breaks down. Losing Travis broke her. She avoided the truth and says it's hard to get DNA when the father is deceased, especially in Florida. Heartbreaking stuff, and you can cut this tension with a knife.
Miss Smith, Grandma, you haven't built a bond with Malachi, or you have?
I didn't even know who Malachi was. Yesterday was the first time I even touched that child.
So yesterday was the first time you ever seen him in person?
Not till yesterday.
In 4 years?
4 years. I never knew nothing about it.
Oh, that's precious.
Then Judge Lake goes, "We don't call this paternity court for nothing. There's another layer." Laster admits she was also with someone else around that time, but insists she believes Travis is the father. The room tightens. Things got rocky quickly.
That was the first time I ever been with somebody that actually cared about me. That was the first time, I met them and they loved me. I've lived with Miss Dolores too, but that was the first time that I actually, met a man that cared for me and had my best interest at heart. It was too much for me, so I left it alone.
Cue the receipts. Literally, the court reviews the calendar. January intimacy with Travis, early February with the other man, baby born October 17th. Judge Lake calculates the conception window, January 19th to 25th, falling squarely in the Travis zone, but warns February is just 2 weeks later. Talk about messy.
All right, so you submitted a calendar to the court to explain that. Let's
Yes.
take a look at that. In January, you claim you were intimate with Travis. January, you have sex with Travis. The other man, in February, you have sex with him. 2nd through the 8th, that's when you had sex with the other man.
Yes.
So Malachi was born October 17th.
Now Judge Lake presses, why eliminate the other guy with a 2-week gap? Laster claims she had that man tested and got 99.9% not his. Head swivel. Judge Lake pushes back. Exclusions are reported as 0% probability of paternity, not 99.9% not his. You can see everyone's eyebrows hit the ceiling.
So why do you just eliminate him? Because that's just 2 weeks.
Okay, well, the other man, we had some things going on for court issues with our children, with our 2 children, and they had to be DNA tested. So I had Malachi DNA tested too, which came out to be 99.9% not his.
Judge Lake isn't leaving this to confusion. She calls Dr. Baird, chief scientist at DNA Diagnostics. On speaker, he confirms, exclusions are reported as 0% probability. 99.9% is the language used for inclusions, not exclusions. Record scratch moment, folks.
There is always the mother, the child, and the alleged father. When I get a result, we talk about the probability of paternity. That means how probable is it that he is the father. The probability of paternity of 0% means he's not the father. That would be a 0%.
When I first presented it was 0%, they told me that doesn't make sense.
With the science settled, the judge pivots back to the family and the narrow 2-week window. The aunt wants closure. The court is ready to test via a grandparentage panel since Travis is deceased. Deep breath. Results are next.
Now, Dr. Baird, where our defendant is saying that she received paperwork that indicated that during a DNA testing process, it was determined that it was 99.9% probability that a man was not the father of a child. Are results ever achieved that way?
The typical way to express an exclusion of paternity.
First up, Miss Hicks's child. Because there's no blood card for Travis, the lab tested his surviving parent, Dolores Smith. Smith. The question, is there a biological relationship between Hicks's child and Ms. Smith? The answer lands like a brick, 0.0% related. Not related. You can feel the room deflate.
With his surviving parent, Dolores Smith. With that being said, the results determine if there is a viable relationship between child Jacori and Dolores Smith. In the case of Smith versus Laster Hicks, when it comes to 3-year-old Jacori,
Ms. Hicks quietly thanks the court for the closure. Judge Lake challenges why the family had to ride the roller coaster if another possibility existed. The frustration is real, but the clarity matters. Emotions are high, and we're not done yet.
I apologize. I assumed it was his, but I do thank you for the closure. That's my main purpose.
Ms. Hicks, you were extremely emotional. And then when I read the result, you're not at all surprised. You just say thank you. Do you know who your child's father is?
Yeah.
So my point is this then. Why would you put Miss Smith and her daughter?
Judge Lake lays down some tough love. If it doesn't come out in the wash, it'll come out in the dry, before turning to Ms. Laster's case. The admonition stings, but it's meant to stop the chaos before it hurts the kids more.
Because I knew the DNA had the answers.
I just wanted certainty because, like I said, her intentions behind the DNA was ill-mannered. That was my whole
that
point
was knowing
of doing anything.
knowing if that was my brother's
the way that she
Miss
was-
Hicks.
Okay.
I'm not gonna let you tell another lie.
All right.
Thank
What you wanted for your child.
Back to business. We move to Malachi's test. Again, a grandparentage analysis between Malachi Laster and Grandma Dolores Smith. Everyone leans in. I mean, just look at those faces. This is the moment where a family either connects or collapses.
Look, but that's why it don't make no sense to lie. My grandmother always said, if it don't come out in the wash, it's coming out in dry.
You better say it.
But you start policing yourself. Stop yourself from digging these holes. You're a beautiful young girl. It's gonna be a whole lot of men that wanna lay down with you, but you gonna end up in the one with the baby. You're more than that. Do you understand?
Yes.
Judge Lake reads, when it comes to 4-year-old Malachi Laster, the courtroom holds its breath. The relatedness percentage between Dolores Smith and Malachi?
The results determine if there is a viable relationship between the child, Malachi Laster, and Dolores Smith. When it comes to 4-year-old Malachi Laster, it has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Dolores Smith and Malachi Laster is 0.00%. You are not related.
0.0%. Not related. Laster looks stunned. Grandma Smith is devastated. The aunt is wrung out. Heartbreaking stuff. 2 children, 2 answers, and none link back to Travis. Silence. Just raw, unfiltered shock and hurt filling the room.
Oh, wow. I'm very sorry.
Both of them put through all of it. And my daughter. All of it. For what?
You need to sit down, Miss Smith. You may have a seat if you'd like.
Imagine walking into paternity court and the potential dads are brothers with the same name. Yup, Michael Shockley versus his brother Steve Shockley, both possible fathers to 31-year-old Desiree Boone. Stakes are sky high. Identity, family bonds, and decades of daddy's girl memories on the line. Judge Lake sets the stage, and Mike arrives with a chart. Oh, we're doing graphs today? Drama overload already. Roll that first clip.
2 brothers could be the father. 2 brothers with the same name could be the biological father. This is a lot.
It is.
It really is.
When he came to me and he told me that he was my dad, I went to family members and I asked them, did you know that there was a possibility? And even though she was not at the time telling me there was a possibility Steve was my dad,
Mike's theory, he makes girls, Steve makes boys. Steve fires back that ultrasound said girl. Baby came out boy, so the whole boy maker argument is flimsy at best. Judge Lake pretty much says, sir, that didn't help, but applauds any man who wants to step up as a father. You can feel Mike reaching from the heart. Messy, but human.
So, Mike, you say you have all girls.
Yes, ma'am.
3 girls, and Desiree's right there in the middle. Yep. Steve, you have all boys.
Yes, Your Honor.
5 boys.
And 1 daughter.
He's serious about that 1 daughter. And you believe this shows basically that, I guess, Mr. Shockley makes boys.
Witness time. Mike's daughter, Crystal Dennis, takes the stand. She's never doubted Desiree was her sister. Birth certificates, neck tattoos, peak daddy's girls energy. I mean, just look at that conviction. Her nostalgia is sweet. Until the uncles who are also cousins, family tree twist kicks in and the room goes woo.
And if you reaching because you so desperately want to be her father, right or wrong or indifferent, I will never ever condemn a man in this courtroom desperately wants to be a father. Yeah, Mr. Shockley, I don't think that added up to any.
Crystal pushes the hardest question. Why did Steve wait 20 years to say something? Steve bristles, says Desiree was kept from him and he would have told her years earlier. The tension is thick. You could cut it with a knife. Everyone's hurting and trying to defend their history all at once.
As Mike's, we fought as kids over who was more of a daddy's girl, you know? She'd be like, oh, you're mama's girl. No, I'm daddy's girl. And you know, we went back and forth. We grew up with him. He's on our birth certificates. He's got our names tattooed on his neck, one on each side. We've always been daddy's girls.
Judge Lake turns to Desiree. Hearing her sister talk about that, we share both parents' bond stings. Desiree admits it's cracking the closeness they clung to. Shared mom and dad was their special tie. Her voice shakes. This revelation is breaking connections she thought were permanent. Heartbreaking stuff.
20 years to come up and say something. Why? That hurt us more than anything. If you were, why did you wait?
But why you blaming me? I mean, like I said a while ago, I would have told her years ago if they hadn't kept her from me. She was my little girl. She's my daughter.
So Desiree, when you hear this and you hear your sister talk about how much it meant to her that you shared the same mother and the same father.
Desiree continues. The daddy's girl identity with Mike is wobbling. Her bond with her sister's wobbling. She feels like she's in limbo. You can see the pain. This is decades of identity on trial. Judge Lake gently pivots and then asks point blank, in this moment, who do you call dad?
It broke, it's kind of broke the connection of the daddy's girl that I had. It broke that connection with him. It broke the connection with my sister because I don't know if that is my full-blooded sister anymore.
I love you.
It makes me question so many, it makes me question, I love you too. It makes me question so much.
Boom. Desiree says Steve. She also believes in her heart Steve's the bio dad. She explains contact with Mike faded right after the truth surfaced. Steve stepped in and has been there 100% as my dad. That lands with a thud. Mike looks gutted and the stakes just went up again.
Oh, you do?
Yes, ma'am.
So my next question was, who do you believe is your biological father?
In my heart, I feel like Steve is. When he told me that, after that, we lost contact a lot. So
who did?
Me and Mike did. We lost contact.
Wait, you were a daddy's girl. Just because you asked the question and then he gave the answer, then you lost contact?
It was contact as we never stayed in contact with each other. Like, he kind of backed out a little bit. Like, he kind of backed away a little bit.
Judge Lake validates Desiree's confusion and asks Mike why he backed away. Mike says he thought she needed space to build with Steve. Desiree gets it. She asked for time, but says Mike backed up more than she wanted. Oof, so many near misses in this family's story.
And I just want you to know you are no way wrong. What other choice would you have?
Right.
When you don't know. And so once it was uncovered, Mr. Shockley, Michael Shockley, where'd you go?
I just figured that she wanted me to back up a little bit. That way they could get closer, you know, if he was her dad.
In the way, and it could have been, and I can understand where he would come with that.
Judge Lake calls in an expert curveball, Dr. Baird from DNA Diagnostics. With two biological brothers and nearly identical names, how do they ensure the right father? Answer, extra testing. Almost double the DNA markers to exclude one man with certainty. Chain of custody, photos, signatures, AABB standards, airtight.
Dr. Baird, we have a case in the courtroom today. We've never seen anything like it at Paternity Court. Dr. Baird, we have two biological brothers with very similar names. I want to make sure that we understand how does DNA Diagnostics differentiate between the two men at the facility? Two men with almost the same names, but also the same mother and the same father.
Well, that is certainly a difficult thing to do genetically, to sort out which of the two is the true biological father.
Dr. Baird continues, custody procedures are rigorous from collection to result. Judge reassures the family this answer will be precise and true. You can see everyone bracing. This isn't just science. It's about unlocking 31 years of identity.
Woman here who has waited 31 years for this answer.
The chain of custody is very important in cases like this. So when the samples are collected, there are photographs taken of the individuals having their sample collected. There are signatures that are obtained at that time.
So you know they are the person.
That's correct. And again, we follow.
Judge checks the emotional stakes. Desiree says no matter what, she wants relationships with both men. One as uncle, one as dad. Steve says if he's not the father, he'll still be the best uncle she's ever had. Mike hopes she's as his daughter, but wants Desiree happy above all. My heart can't take it.
Whoever it turns out is my dad, I still want a relationship with both of them. Just one is my uncle, one is my dad.
And you deserve that.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Shockley, Steve Shockley, if the results show you are not her biological father, will you regret ever mentioning this to her?
No, Your Honor, because even if it does show it, I know what step I have to take next.
Enter Ms. Grove. She admits she hopes Mike is Desiree's dad and is sorry for a lot in the past. The room is buzzing with love and regret. Judge Lake asks for the envelope. Cue the drum roll. My nerves are shot. Whose life changes in the next 60 seconds?
I just hope whatever the decision is makes her happy.
Ms. Grove?
Yes.
What are you feeling in this moment?
I can't explain it. I would Mike to be her dad because they've always had such a strong bond. You know, her growing up, you know, I can't change the past. I'm sorry for a lot of things, but in my heart, I feel like Mike is her dad.
Here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for. Judge Lake reads, in the case of Shockley versus Shockley, the biological father of Desiree Boone is Mr. Steve Shockley. Steve exhales. Mike looks shattered but dignified. Desiree processes decades in a heartbeat. I mean, just look at that reaction. Raw, real, overwhelming.
By DNA diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Shockley versus Shockley, pertaining to whether Steve Shockley or Stephen Michael Shockley is the father of 31-year-old Desiree Boone, it has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Steve Shockley.
After the reveal, Ms. Grove apologizes to everyone, saying she truly believed Mike was the dad. Steve tells Mike, I love you, brother. Desiree reminds everyone, sisterhood stands, no matter the DNA. This family is choosing to stay a family. Magic in the mess, as Judge Lake would say.
You want to go by and stand with your dad? Sure. How do you feel, Miss Grove?
I'm disappointed because, like I said, and I feel bad for Mike. You know, I know this is hurting him, and I'm sorry, Mike. I honestly believe that she was your daughter.
Judge Lake closes with compassion. Decades of confusion, but clarity at last, and counsel is provided. The court recognizes the courage it took to face this. You can feel a fragile relief in the air. Not a perfect ending, but a true one. And sometimes that's everything.
Today, just because we don't share the same dad doesn't mean we're not sisters. I don't look at her as my cousin. She's not my cousin, she's my sissy.
My big sis.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, this has been a saga. What I love so much is I often say in this life, you gotta find the magic in the mess.
Imagine walking into paternity court with a 6-month-old facing a serious medical condition and the alleged dad already checked out because he says the baby doesn't look like him. That's the chaos in Renfro vs. Toosie. Judge opens, and Ms. Renfro makes it clear she's 100% sure, and today's results matter because of genetics and her son Kendall's health. Drama overload already, folks.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Renfro versus Toosie.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Renfro, you claim you are 100% certain that the defendant is the father of your 6-month-old son, Kendall. You say Kendall was born with a serious medical condition and believe it was genetically passed down by the defendant. And that's why today's paternity results.
We jump straight into the denial. Mr. Toosie admits he hasn't stepped up because, in his words, the baby looks way too white. Judge cuts that off fast. Ms. Renfro looks furious and hurt. You can feel it. I mean, just look at that reaction. And yes, the courtroom goes quiet for a beat, the awkward kind. Things got rocky quickly.
Forget about, nothing.
So you're saying, Ms. Renfro, that Mr. Toosie hasn't shown any care, concern about...
He's never even seen my son.
Your Honor, I seen him one time. I went over her house one time and that was it. And I realized the baby just don't look nowhere near like me.
So you admit that you have not stepped up to the plate for the baby because you truly don't believe this child is your child.
Now it's the text from old boyfriend's defense. He claims he saw messages that made him doubt paternity, but can't remember what they said. Sir, that's not evidence. That's a hunch with Wi-Fi. Judge is not buying it. Can anyone else feel the tension rising here? Because you could cut it with a knife.
What happened the day you told him?
He didn't say nothing. He was like, well, who's the dad?
I had seen a few text messages from her random ex-boyfriends.
It wasn't
the
no
dudes
ex.
that she had sex with before, and I know this for a fact.
5 months prior to...
What did the text messages say, sir?
I really don't remember what he said. I just kind of glanced through it.
So wait a minute. You saw text messages.
Then he pivots to, I was with someone 5 years and never got her pregnant. Like fertility math is a legal strategy. strategy. Meanwhile, Ms. Renfro brings the bombshell. Kendall was born with what she describes as Hirschsprung's disease and needed surgery at 6 days old. Heartbreaking stuff, and you can see Judge's face get serious.
And I didn't get her pregnant. And not only that, about 2 years ago, me and my good friend, we had sex and she got pregnant, and she tried claiming the baby was mine, and she got a DNA test and it wasn't my baby.
But you do understand that despite all of that, it has zero relevance as it relates to this child born to this one.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Renfro lays it out. She contacted him, he ghosted, and through the crisis, he wasn't there. Then Mr. Toosie fires back with, "Why would you have another guy sign the birth certificate?" She says her ex stepped up because someone had to. Talk about messy, but you can hear the exhaustion in her voice.
My son deserves to know who his dad is because of the issues he has with his health, and he just needs to take responsibility for his child.
Were you intimate with anybody else during the window of time when Kendall was conceived?
No, Your Honor.
Are you sure of that?
Yes, I'm 100% sure. I know who my kids belong to. I don't just lay down with everybody. I don't sleep with everybody unprotected, and when I do have sex with
Then
people...
why would you have another guy signing the birth certificate?
Judge turns to family history. Any intestinal issues on Mr. Toosie's side? He says no. Then he circles back to complexion again, and Judge practically levitates. The baby is 6 months old and the mother is white. Translation, stop the pseudoscience. I mean, the eye roll here is elite.
Does anyone in your family have issues with their intestinal tract?
No, Your Honor.
And you don't have this disease in your family as well? Mr. Toosie, why haven't you been there? I mean, this child is 6 months old. He has had to overcome medical issues.
The baby don't look nowhere near like me. If the baby was mine, it'd be a little more darker than what it is.
Because you made it up in your mind.
No.
We get the day-to-day reality. Ms. Renfro describes surgeon visits twice a month, infections, hospital runs, and trying to collect family history with a man who won't answer. You can see her trying to hold it together. Can someone pass the tissues, please?
What has it been like for the past 6 months to have to raise this child without the man you say is his biological father and go through all of this medical, I mean, look, when you're having a medical issue, everybody knows the first thing they ask you is your family history. You're not able to give a lot of the information related to Mr. Toosie's side if in fact he is the child's biological father.
Because he ignores me.
Because he won't cooperate. So how has this been for the last?
It's stressful, it's hard. My son has to see a surgeon twice a month.
A witness steps up to support Ms. Renfro. The vibe shifts. She insists Mr. Toosie is dad, period. The confidence is loud, the loyalty even louder. Judge listens carefully. Mr. Toosie looks annoyed. I mean, just look at his face. That reaction says it all.
State your name for the court.
I'm Kristen.
What relationship are you to Ms. Renfro?
This is my best friend. I've known her for like 10 years. She tells me everything.
All right, and what testimony can you offer related to the paternity of baby Kendall?
Well, like Danielle said, if that's his dad, that's his dad. I believe her. I don't believe she's a lie. And if there was a possibility, I think she would tell me about it. Mr. Toosie, he's a good guy, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's doing this purposely because, like he said, she was texting whatever, texting a guy.
Then we wade into protection talk. Another encounter is mentioned, but they use protection gets emphasized like it's a force field. Judge zeroes in, details matter. The side eyes across the room, Hugh, drama at its finest, folks.
Point being, they used protection and it was just one time, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure.
So Miss Renfro, your best friend, remembers you were intimate with somebody else around the time. When she said it, you did not immediately say what you're saying is a lie that is not true.
Stuff happens.
Best friend memory time, dates, windows, who was where. The recap lands on at least one other sexual encounter in the broader time frame, and the courtroom temperature cranks up again. Judge wants clarity. Excuses won't cut it. You can feel everyone bracing.
It was just,
okay.
It was way before I
And
got
what
pregnant.
planet do you live on where condoms are 100% effective?
Well, when it's like
I have a lot of people that need to move there.
I don't know.
So are condoms 100% effective?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so the truth is, the real testimony is, you did have sex with someone else, at least during the window of time.
Back to the condoms mean certainty argument. Judge reminds her, it still matters. Ms. Renfro doubles down. She knows who her kids belong to. The conviction is intense, the back and forth is exhausting, and the stakes feel heavier with Kendall's health on the line.
Miss Renfro, It does matter, though. I just don't want you to convince yourself of this lie. Like, you understand that who you slept with during the window of time before Kendall was conceived is relevant. Did you sleep with him a month before you found out you were pregnant, or a month before the window of conception you were given? Two different things.
It was before I found out I was pregnant.
Judge brings medical clarity, an explanation of Hirschsprung's toxic megacolon, problems passing stool, serious risk if untreated. The courtroom calms for a second. It's sobering. This isn't just drama, it's a child's well-being.
Explain it. And Hirschsprung's disease is also known as toxic megacolon. And it's a rare disorder where the individuals that are affected lack nerve supply and muscle tone to the large intestine and the rectum. So what happens is that stool starts to back up and stretch the intestine. This is a normal intestine that's not stretched right here. And then the individual that has the disease is unable to actually push and eliminate the stool.
We get the genetic nuance, not always inherited the way folks assume. Judge carefully reframes the passed down claim, trying to keep the focus on facts over feelings. I appreciate this pivot. It slices through the noise.
Not inherited from parents in the way we discussed before. So does hearing this testimony change your view at all about your possibility of being Kendall's biological father?
No, it doesn't.
Of course, because he's a deadbeat.
It does not.
Typical deadbeat answer.
I'm gonna need you to show a little bit more concern for this baby, miss.
Cue the drumroll. DNA. Diagnostics results are in. Judge reads, in the case of 6-month-old Kendall, Mr. Toosie is not the father. Ms. Renfro's face drops. The air leaves the room. Mr. Toosie exhales like he won the lottery. I mean, just look at that reaction. Relief versus devastation in real time.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. It has been determined by this court. Mr. Toosie, you are not the father.
Yes!
Oops.
Told you!
The fallout is immediate. Sharp words, hurt feelings, and that stunned silence before court wraps. Judge reins it in and moves to adjourn. It's a brutal ending for a mom who walked in certain, and a reminder that feelings don't outrun facts in this courtroom.
But you're not smart enough to know when you're lying. Sitting up trying to pin a baby on a man. Hold on, I'm talking now. I'm talking now. Since all you can do is shrug your shoulders, stay silent. Because you were so dramatic about how Mr. Toosie had never done anything. Oh, and you cried. Hold on. You cried yourself a river in this courtroom, baby. All the time, never testifying to the whole truth. And that's wrong.
Imagine walking into paternity court and meeting your alleged dad for the first time. After 23 years, Judge Lauren starts in chambers with Ms. Sheila Dennis, who's only ever had wedding photos and a last name to hold on to. The stakes? Sky-high emotions, a denied DNA test for decades, and a father who says he's not the father. Buckle up, we're heading to the courtroom.
Miss Dennis, I requested that you meet me in my chambers because after I read your court file, I was truly touched by what I read. I realized that you've been searching for your father since you were 12 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
The man you believe is your father. But you have never seen him. You have never spoken to him.
We're seated. Case called Dennis versus Dennis. Judge Lauren makes it plain. Today is the first time Sheila will lay eyes on the man she believes is her father, and he denies it. My heart's already in my throat. You can feel the tremor in her voice, hope and fear doing a tango. Drama overload.
All I've known of him is these pictures that I've had my entire life.
And these are?
These are pictures of my mother and him at their wedding.
And so you've had these pictures your whole life, but you have not had your biological father.
Not one bit.
But I just wanted to make sure you were aware of the stakes and the fact that this can be in a very emotional time.
Enter Mr. Dennis, polite, stiff, and ready to get closure. Sheila insists the resemblance is uncanny. Nose, cheekbones, eyes. I mean, just look at that reaction when she says she's always believed it. His posture tightens. Tension you could slice with a butter knife.
The very first day you've ever laid eyes on a man you known to be your father.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just want to make clear that you understand that he denies is your biological father.
Absolutely.
All right. Jerome, at this time, I'd ask please escort Mr. Dennis into the courtroom so we can begin the proceedings.
Then boom, Mr. Dennis drops the boat story. He says back when they were married, he called from a trucking run and heard Ms. Merrill was out late on the lake with an ex. Wrong, 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 he shoots back at the pregnancy timeline. Things got rocky quickly.
Ms. Dennis, I'd like to start with you.
Yes, ma'am.
You have been in search of your biological father for close to 23 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And you truly believe that Mr. Dennis, who stands here at the defendant podium, is your biological father.
Correct.
Tell me what you learned and why you believe this to be true.
Judge digs in. Was there cheating while he was on the road? He's convinced there was, and that's when the seed of doubt got planted. You can see Sheila's face, half disbelief, half exhaustion. Can anyone else feel the tension rising here?
Wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
Please tell the court what your position is.
My position here right now today is to give her closure, myself closure, of me being the father or not being the father, which to me, I believe I'm not, because when me and her mother were married, I was a truck driver at the time. And on Memorial Day weekend, I was down in Florida.
Now the timeline twist. He says after Florida, they split. He moved to Arkansas. Divorce proceedings started, then paused because Ms. Merrill was pregnant. He says visitation offered would have been limited and supervised. He's never seen Sheila in person until today. Heartbreaking stuff.
Split up because of that. I moved to Arkansas. She started the divorce proceeding, and then I got a letter in the mail stating that the proceedings had stopped due to her pregnancy.
So then they paused the divorce proceedings because she was pregnant.
Until after the child was born.
Receipts time. He says he asked for a DNA test and was denied. Judge calls for the evidence. He stands firm. Courts wouldn't grant it. Sheila learned the full story around age 7 or 8. Watch her eyes. Years of confusion turning into steel.
I have requested from her mother, and I have proof for DNA test and everything else that I have been denied by courts from her mother and everybody else.
Jerome, will you please hand me Mr. Dennis's evidence? What is this, sir?
That is proof of the DNA request that I have requested from the courts, but with her mother denying, I could not get a DNA test.
Ms. Merrill joins by phone. Judge wants the other side about that boat. Mom says it was just a friend showing the restored boat. Kids on board, nothing more. Mr. Dennis says she dated the guy before. Sparks fly through the speaker. Hello, three-way courtroom chess.
To make sure we do hear the other side of the story. So, Ms. Dennis, your mother could not join us today, but she was able to join us by phone, so I have her here on the line. Ms. Merrill, are you here? Can you hear me?
I am, and I can.
Ms. Merrill, you understand that Mr. Dennis alleges at that time that you were in a situation on a boat with another man, an ex-boyfriend, which led him to believe that Ms. Dennis...
Pressed on details, Mom admits she dated that man briefly before Mr. Dennis, but swears there were no sexual relations while married. Judge clocks the inconsistency, and you can see Sheila scanning the room, like, who's telling the truth about my life? Talk about messy.
As I recall this situation, it was not after we were married that I went on a boat with a friend, and my children were there. In fact, he let my daughter drive the boat, and he's a good friend of mine.
She was dating him at the time we met.
His boat after he had restored it.
Mr. Dennis says that you cheated with this man.
Judge turns to Sheila. Ever heard there might be another possible father? Sheila has met the man but doesn't know. Oof. That not knowing lands like a weight. She inhales, steadies, and the room softens. She's about to speak her pain.
Time when I met her, when I was working as a bar back doorman, her and her friend came in the bar.
We dated for a short period of time before I met Steve Dennis. After I met
Now see,
Steve
she
Dennis,
said she
we
had
never
no
dated.
relationships with him whatsoever. He was just a friend.
I did not have a sexual relationship.
Well,
He
you
was a
did say,
friend.
Miss Merrill, he was just a friend. So the
Yes.
truth is you did used to date him romantically.
My father never wanted me. Why didn't he try? She says, voice cracking. Mr. Dennis counters, if Mom had complied with a DNA request, he'd have been there. No one asked for a DNA test. The crossfire's brutal. Sheila looks shattered. Cue the drum roll. This is the core wound.
I had sexual relations with anyone but the man I was married to.
Miss Dennis, have you ever heard anything about this other man? That there be another possibility of someone who could be your biological
I know
dad?
the man, I've met the man, but I don't know.
So you know him and you've met him?
Yeah.
Miss Dennis, I want you to take a moment and I want you to tell Mr. Dennis about your search for him.
And now, the fallout. Mr. Dennis says child support made him homeless. He describes checks garnished at 66 1/3%. No rent money, no life, just fear. You can feel Judge Lauren taking this in. This isn't just a family mystery. It's decades of financial and emotional wreckage.
With any request whatsoever.
You are a liar. I've got the
No,
proof. The
I'm
judge
not.
has the proof where I've requested.
And let me be clear, you have been responsible for child support, Mr. Dennis,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
these years.
I have been homeless just because of it.
You have been denied
By courts.
the DNA test that you've needed
Yes, ma'am, for 23
20-something years.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge reviews the numbers in court. Monthly payments around $300, with arrears totaling $146,918.51. He says he looks over his shoulder every day, worried about prison, and can't even get his driver's license. This is beyond messy. It's a system grinding everyone down.
Felt like at that time your wife had been unfaithful to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And you asked for a DNA test.
Yes, ma'am.
You were not granted.
Yes, ma'am.
From that point on, you were responsible for child support
Yes,
each and
ma'am.
every month over the last 20-something years,
Yes,
and you've
ma'am.
now just presented to the court
The rares I'm behind.
that your payments are approximately $300 every single month.
Whatever judge.
And you are $146,918.51.
Judge pivots to empathy and accountability. She asks Sheila to tell him how it felt. Sheila says the toll is real. Sadness, hurt. A truck driver who could cross state lines for work, but not to see me? Whew. I mean, that reaction from Mr. Dennis, eyes wet, jaw slack, says everything.
She is my child. Her mother had denied me a DNA test, so why would I believe the child's mine? Why would I want to get involved with the child and come to find out years later that the child's not mine anyway?
Because if your wife had gotten pregnant by you and it was your child, but you were confused or doubtful, what's the point? Let me just prove them wrong and let's have this DNA test so you can be quiet.
The room goes still. Judge asks if they're ready for the results. Both say yes. 23 years of questions meet a single envelope. My stomach is doing cartwheels. Hands shaking, breath held. This is it.
Speaking the truth?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
For a child. My father travels across state lines, drives truck, makes deliveries, picks up, and shows up for a living. But he can't do those things for me.
I can understand.
That's what she's lived with for 20-something years. And I know you are being kind, and I know you are reserving a lot of your emotion because you're trying to be strong. But I had to.
Thank you.
So are you both prepared?
Here it is, the moment. Judge reads, when it comes to 22-year-old Sheila Dennis, Mr. Dennis, you are the father. Sheila exhales, tears turning into relief. Mr. Dennis whispers, sorry, baby, and you can feel the years melting off both of them.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Dennis versus Dennis, when it comes to 22-year-old Sheila Dennis, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Dennis, you are the father.